Well, thank you. Glad to talk about it. We're excited. The Texas Heartbeat Act, Senate Bill 8, that low number means it was a priority for the lieutenant governor. He reserves those low numbers for bills that are important. So we're thankful for that. And it just recognizes that human life ought to be protected. And so Texas has led the nation in pro-life legislation for about the last 20 years. Several states had passed heartbeat laws, and Texas had not. And so we wanted to do that. They tell us to follow the science. We're following the science. That heartbeat's the sign of life. We all have a pulse, right? And so that's what the law is about. So it says that when the little baby growing inside her mother's womb has a heartbeat, we're going to protect that little life from abortion. And so we passed it in May. I should say the governor signed it in May, took effect September 1st. And unlike every other pro-life law in the last 30, 50 years, it took effect, and it is saving little babies' lives today. So the enforcement mechanism is really what's gotten a lot of attention and made this law unique. But ultimately, it's about protecting innocent human life. We also did some important things this session in the budget to help those moms. We want to save the little babies and love and support and respect the moms. I hope we get to talk about that, but I don't want to leave that out because that's an important piece of this bill.
Can you explain the enforcement mechanism for people who might not understand what makes it so unique? Because this doesn't involve, typically there's criminal enforcement. When a law is passed, if you violate the law, you're held accountable by the state. In this case, it would be the state of Texas, but that's not how this bill works. And is it kind of a novel construction? Explain the design of it.
I'd be glad to. So as you say, normally when we pass a law, it's enforced by the criminal system, right? And so it's in the penal code. So if you break the law, the district attorney comes after you, or maybe the attorney general, or maybe if you're a professional like a doctor, it's the medical licensing board. It's enforced by the government. And we had a problem with this because at the end of 2020, we had district attorneys from around the country, many in Texas, but all around the country. And they wrote an open letter saying, legislatures, if you pass a heartbeat law, we're not going to enforce it. These district attorneys went on to say that even if Roe versus Wade is overturned, we will not enforce pro-life laws. So that presented us with a problem. If those elected officials who are sworn to uphold the law, if they say we're not going to do it, then the people of Texas had to respond. Now, let me point out, this was not every district attorney in Texas, not even most of them, but they tended to be in big urban counties representing millions of people. Here in Dallas, where I'm speaking to you today, the district attorney here signed that letter, among other urban counties. So we knew we wanted to enforce this law and have a better way to do it. We also looked to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. About 20 years ago, Louisiana took a similar approach, and they relied on private civil enforcement. And the Fifth Circuit said that's okay. So thanks for letting me give you the long answer. I'll get to the point here. So there's a concept in English common law called qui tam. And y'all are both scholarly guys, but the concept goes back hundreds of years. It allows private citizens to bring civil actions on behalf of the common good. Every state has this concept in their consumer protection laws. The feds have it, and there's what's called the False Claims Act. And if you discover that someone is defrauding the federal government, you can sue them as a private citizen. And if you prevail and prove they defrauded the government, you're incentivized to do that. And so since the district attorneys, so many of them told us they weren't going to enforce the law, we said, okay, we don't need you. So this law relies on private citizen enforcement. And so today in Texas, before a doctor does an abortion, he's got to check for that fetal heartbeat. If he doesn't check and he does the abortion, that's an illegal abortion. If he checks, detects a heartbeat, and still does the abortion, that's an illegal abortion. But the district attorney's not going to come after him. Instead, it's private citizens, concerned citizens. Anyone who has evidence that he's performed an illegal abortion can bring a suit against that doctor. We want to be clear. There are no suits against the mother, but against the doctor and those who aid and abet him. Civil penalties, at least $10,000. And again, this is to discourage illegal abortion. So that's what's different about this law. Other laws rely on the government to enforce them. And of course, they are immediately blocked by the courts. This law relies on private civil enforcement. And that's why it's in effect today.